We'll see you after the holiday, guys. In case I need to stay a little bit longer to cover everything that I want to talk about, I will. Welcome, ask your questions. Today we have some interesting topics. And I'm happy to see everyone. I generally give everybody until about 12:02, 12:03 to join. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. If you're part of my group, here's the schedule for my group. So we're going to have our Wednesday night meditation this Wednesday, December 18th. And then we'll skip next week because the Wednesday is Christmas Day. And we're going to have the first meditation of the year, Wednesday, January 1st. These are my Wednesday nights meditations. They're all different every single week. It just depends on where the group energy is at and what spirit tells me to put out there for you guys. So we'll have one this Wednesday and the next one is January 1st. Also, January 1st is the date where I'm going to start a new round of the 60-day challenge that's available in my bio. If anybody already has the 60-day challenge, wants to restart with me or wants to start it with me, my first day will be January 1st. And it's great because that's when we're doing our meditation as well. I won't do a new moon meditation for the end of the year. Everybody's in holiday mode and I just don't want to put this thing out there for people to be distracted. So when we do the work, we're just very serious about the work. That's my approach. It's absolutely okay to take a break from it. And that's what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. Mako, you'll restart with me. That's great. If you started one that it's not completed to the end, but you kind of skipped a few days, just start again with me on January 1st. So we have like some of that power of the group going on there. And if you guys don't know, we affirm for one another. So I love that. I find that amazing. Every time I put an affirmation for people in the group, I always envision like, it's like arrows of energy that I'm sending to the rest of the queens in this group. And I love it. I've been doing this practice for a while with the group. I absolutely love it. I feel I've gained so much, I don't want to call it power, but I want to call it wisdom. I want to call it, I'm granted a higher level access, I would say, by the game, by the universe. I feel like I'm at a different level and it shows, right? In what we talk about, it shows in the information that I have to share. And I think there's no reason you wouldn't be doing this work. No reason. Okay, I'm gonna leave you with a book to read in over the holidays, and it's this. I recently got it. It was recommended on a podcast by a neuroscientist. It's called Into the Magic Shop, and it was written by this neuroscientist. Actually, it's a neurosurgeon. Okay, so he's actually the ones doing surgeries on the brain. Named James Dody. He goes by Jim Dody. So Dr. Jim Dody, Into the Magic Shop. This is one of the most simple to the point but eye-opening beautiful book that I've read on manifestation. So this book is a memoir that is combined with practical lessons in visualization and the actual wisdom of manifestation, which is what I am talking about in my lives and everything. But I only found this book a few weeks ago and I read it in 3 days. So basically Jim is a guy who was born in 1955. He's in his late 60s now. He wrote this book, I want to say about 10 years ago maybe. So he had a whole lifetime of wisdom before he wrote this book. I think it's his first book. And Jim grew up very, very poor. I can't remember in what state in the United States, but there's no way for a guy like him, born in 1955, to ever become a doctor. From the family he came from, abuse, alcoholism, suicidal mom, him being a boy that had to hold everything together, brother committed suicide, like really, really tragic beginnings. And so he meets when he's 12 years old. He goes into a magic shop, like into an actual magic shop, you know, where they sell cards and stuff. And he meets the mother of the owner of the shop. And he meets the mother of the owner of the shop. And she is this lady who's doing all these practices back in 1968 or 67 when he was 12 years old. And she completely changes his life. He starts to work with her every single day. She was in town for 6 weeks. And it was like when you meet an angel. She completely changed his life. So he shares some of her practical tips that she told him to do. visualization, body relaxation, and then projection out there of the right trajectory. Her name is Ruth, this woman. But I just found, so the first 3 chapters are sort of his encounters with Ruth, and afterwards it's sort of a memoir on the lessons he's learned in life, which I find it absolutely fascinating. And it's no different than what we talked here. So the wisdom is, you can wish for something and you can practice something to bring forth a manifestation that is completely unaligned with who you are. And if you do this, it will eventually crash in the most awful way in your life, or it will be taken away from your life, because it's just not you. You're not making the inner change. You're just doing this in a sort of spell-like work, or you're forgetting, or you're becoming arrogant, you're becoming, etc. Can I buy the book on Amazon? Yeah, that's where I bought it. I'm not selling it. I'm doing book recommendations for my group, like really stuff that, you know, you'd benefit from. So I'm just gonna read a passage here that was one of the practices that Ruth gave him. Hold on a second. One second. It told me, this system just told me that my life contains some things that may be insulting or violating community guidelines. This system is crazy. I'm talking about a book on mindset. Anyway. So let me just see what I can do about this restriction. Your life, listen to this, your life contains themes that some may find uncomfortable and has been restricted. Violates community guidelines. Unbelievable. Can you guys hear me? Can you say hello? If you can hear me, I just want to make sure you can hear me. Yes, insanity. Yes, I hear you. Okay, that's fine. I don't need to restart their live, because my lives, I post them all on my YouTube channel after, which is under the same handle. And I always think whoever's meant to be on this live is on this live. So it is what it is. In any event, I just want to make sure who's on this live can hear me. So now he's reading from he's recounting his one of the meetings he had with Ruth. So Ruth is telling him, now Jim, imagine in your head you are looking through a window. The window is all fogged up, like the inside of a car when it's cold outside. Think of your intention as the defrost setting. Set your intention over and over again so that the window gets clearer and clearer, less and less foggy. So this is a visualization exercise she's giving him. On the other side of that window is you as a doctor. The more clearly you can see the image through the window, the more likely the image will come to pass in real life. He says, I try over and over again, and eventually I could see myself in a white coat through the window in my head. Keep at it, said Ruth, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. Whatever you can see clearly through the window in your mind will become real. You'll also know when you don't see things clearly through this window, correct? And the more you can imagine you already have what's in the window, or you already are what's in that window, the quicker it will happen. Is it real? Asked Ruth. You promise this magic really works? I promise, said Ruth. I have never lied to you, Jim, and I'm not going to start now, but it takes work, and some things will take longer to happen than others. And sometimes it won't happen exactly the way you expect. But I promise you, everything you put on your list, everything you feel in your heart, everything you think about and imagine with your mind, if you truly believe it, if you work very hard, it will happen. Isn't that exactly what we talk about in this live? And these are the lessons he got from a woman in a magic shop in 1968. Right? I just find that unbelievable. In any event, it's a book that's totally worth reading, and you should read it over the holiday again. It's called Into the Magic Shop by Dr. James Dody. All right, now I want to talk about, somebody asked me, we had a group coaching session on Saturday on my Facebook group, and somebody asked me about healing, okay? She had an elbow injury, And she asked me in the context of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. Dr. Joe Dispenza, if you guys don't know who he is, you should look him up. The majority of his work has to do with rewiring your brain, but there is an element that's sort of esoteric about it, or he's trying to make it all scientific, but science hasn't accepted all of the practices and theories that he has about the mind. Even though he's a doctor, even though he has results, he has scientific results. And so what I missed in talking about the Dr. Joe Dispenza part, for the person, I don't know if she's on the live right now or not. She was asking me, how can I heal with Dr. Joe Dispenza? I heal an elbow injury. And here's the thing, like Dr. Joe Dispenza doesn't focus on healing anything specific in the body. Like there isn't like a meditation for cancer and a meditation for, a foot problem or anything like that. There isn't any work in his workshop to work on any particular problem. He's doing it two ways. So one is you have to restore yourself to the point where your mind is connected to the higher mind. And in the higher mind, there should be no separation between you and your higher mind. This is what all his meditations, all his practices, and all his group things are all about. And so when you have this connection to the higher mind, your body is restored to its natural state automatically, right? Because the body is an intelligent machine, physical machine, that's formed and reformed, structured and restructured by the energy matrix that you have around you. And if you manage to connect your energy matrix with the higher intelligence, with the higher energy matrix, it will automatically be cleared and it will automatically be reset to perfection. But what I forgot to mention was sort of the practice that Dr. Joe has, and the practice he has in healing in all his seminars that he does with his groups, like the physical groups, and it's about 2,000 people that goes. First he asks who would like healing, and a few people, a few tenths of people, like I would say maybe 60 to 100 people want healing for a specific. I don't even think he knows what they have, right? They just have an illness. And what he does as a practice is he separates the ones that want to heal from the healers from the healees, right? So the majority of this 2,000 people that go are healers, and then the healees are the people who are sick. So he puts the healers into this meditative mind, and he puts the people who require healing on the floor, like in a darkened room. Again, these rooms are immense, that they can hold 2,000 people. And they're on the floor, sort of on this blanket, and they get a premeditation to the event. After that, the room is opened up and the healers come in. So the healers is the majority of the participants. And around every person who is sick, there is 4 chairs on one side, 4 chairs on the other side. And so people would just come in and just sit whatever, it's most effective for them to sit. It doesn't matter. And they sit down, and now they all get this intention, but it's all dictated by Dr. Joe. He does this personally on stage. He's saying, now let's have the intention of healing of this person. Again, the room is dark, and the majority of people, I would say all people, wear eye mask, right? So they're completely, they want to be shut down from their visual senses and from their senses. They want to go deep within. And Dr. Joe guides everybody through a meditation in which you're raising your energy from your root chakra to the pineal gland. He's all about the pineal gland. And in this process, you're clearing and pouring energy over that person. But it has nothing to do with the specific healing of a specific body part. So I wanted just to be clear, because a lot of people are asking me about Dr. Joe's work and the healing and which meditation should they do to heal their liver or to heal this thing or this other thing. It doesn't work this way. I'm simplifying it for you just so you approach this work correctly. Even his physical practices that he has for these people, it doesn't have to do with focusing on anything about the disease that they have specifically. The healing happens as a consequence of your energy system connecting to a higher energy system. I want to see if I missed anything before I get into what I want to talk about today. Let's see. I make your back stop hurting. I love it. that's sort of the approach you should have to healing. Healing should not be something that you actively do. Maybe that's the simplest way to think about it. It's not something that you actively do. Like, I'm not sitting here right now healing. You're not doing anything. It just automatically gets done when you get into that state. But your intention has to be, I want to connect, not I want to heal. Your intention shouldn't be, I want to heal. Because I want to heal means I'm focused on, there's something wrong with me. Your intention is, I want to connect. Now, in order to connect, and if that's your true intention, you will be given the physical tools necessary, okay? And whether that's running into a new treatment, whether that's the stopping of your pain, whether that's the diminution of your pain, whatever it is for you at the time, based on your ability to connect. Today, I want to talk about the 7 Hermetic Principles, and I want to know who's heard of it. It seems like a good way to end the year by just reviewing these. Anybody heard of the Kybalion and the 7 Hermetic Principles? These are, the Kybalion was a book that was written, I want to say, at the beginning of the 20th centuries. It doesn't have an actual author, but it's said to be written by 3 initiates. Like, we don't know what they've been initiated into, but the book is sort of a blend of mythology, practices, and understanding of the universe from both the Greeks and the Egyptians. And it presents this most famous 7 principles upon which the whole universe is based and life for us is based. Okay, so 2 of the things, before I get into the 7th, 2 of the things that I wrote here that to me, they always speak in that book, and it's aligned with what I believe about the world, is these 2 maxims from it. The all is the infinite living mind, the spirit. The all, they refer to it as the all. This is God. This is God in every other religion except without the religious rules and regulations. So they call it the all, is this living infinite mind, or infinite living mind, the spirit. Okay, now the spirit cannot be mistaken with the universe, and in fact, in the 2nd thing, they say the all creates in its infinite mind countless universes which exist for eons at the time. So the all creates in its infinite mind countless universes which exists for eons at a time. It's the all, the spirit, that creates the universe. So the all, the spirit, is not the universe. It's never the universe. When I say ask the universe, I want in your mind, everybody who's following me already knows this. There is a distinction between the creator and the machine, that's the universe. And note how it says here, countless universes. Right now, there's theories in quantum science that, we might be actually part of a multiverse system. And in addition to that, they say these universes exist for eons at a time, which means they are finite. They exist for a really long time, but they are finite. They're not infinite. So we also already know that scientifically, right? We know our universe is eventually going to end. That's what science tells you right now. That's your sign to read the book again. Yeah. Let's review the 7 Hermetic Principles and sort of see if we can think of practical applications for it. What do you guys think of it? How you'd want to see it? Okay. So the first principle is all is mind. All is mind. We know this in manifestation work. We know this in the work of mindset. We know this in neuroscience. All is mind. Everything begins in the mind, and everything is a mental construct. Because everything begins in the mind doesn't mean that the world you experience is not real. It means you will experience the contents of your mind put in the form of 3D. Are we together on this? Is there any question on this? So the practical application on this is your thoughts affect reality. It doesn't mean that my mind has constructed this field that's in front of me and this parking lot that's in front of me. It means based on the mental construct that I have, based on the mindset that I have of what I do on Mondays, I come on this lives, this is my expectation, then I turn up here and I do my live. You guys clear, yeah? So the principle is all is mind, everything begins in the mind, and everything you experience the contents of your mind. Where does chronic illness come from? Asked Ari. Chronic illness comes from pollution of your energy field. So everything that's an illness in the body comes from the energetic field having formed that energetic signature of that disease well ahead of time of the disease manifesting in the body. There's always a delay. This is why when people do this work, a lot of people do heal of chronic illnesses. All right. Number 2, as above, so below. As above, so below. So I meant to do a video on this, and I think I'll do it with a diagram, because my diagram videos, everybody compliments me on them and everybody understands what I'm saying better when I do diagrams. But here's sort of the as above, so below, how it translates. Consciousness is primary. So it's God on top, okay? If you don't want to think of the God on top, it's fine. Consciousness, though, spirit is primary. Your consciousness, you're part of that. You're an individuated piece of consciousness. That's primary. That's where everything stems from. Secondary is the energetic field. That's secondary to consciousness. So consciousness primary, energetic field secondary, matter tertiary. Number 3, okay? Matter is sort of here. So anything comes from consciousness is above, so below. It trickles down below. It makes sense, right? So the implications of this are the following. You can affect things from the top, or you can affect things from the same level. So if you work on the material plane, you can do life just from the material. A lot of people, the majority of people on earth probably do it from the material. It's hard. It's hard. It's like walking in mud. It's very difficult. Sometimes you stumble, you fall, you get yourself up. Sometimes you just give up. Can I please save this? Yes, this will be posted on my YouTube channel. All of my lives are posted on my YouTube channel. And so matter, doing matter from matter is a choice. Is a choice. When you no longer want to do it, you kind of come to this work. You come to this work and you go to level 2, energy. You understand, you start to perceive an energy field. You understand that things are in the energy field. Things are interconnected. In the energy field, it's not just us. There's other energy signatures that probably some of them have more power than us. So I don't want to go too esoteric, okay, for my audience. But in this energy field, okay, in these energetic signatures populated in the larger field by maybe other beings, not obviously not with bodies, but other intelligences, different types of intelligences than us. Sometimes you can connect to one of these spirits, angels, demons, who knows, good or bad. When people do from the material rituals to connect, so a voodoo ritual would be an example of this, or a prayer in a church would also be an example of this. They're accessing this energetic field here, and they're accessing intelligences that can help the material plane or can do something for the material plane. So the theory is that a lot of them want to be in the material plane and can't, and sort of they will do something for you in exchange for something, but my topic is not that's not my content. That's something you can research on your own if you have interest in that. There's no reason to, though. There's no reason to go into that, because it could just drive you on a different direction. So in this energy field, energy can affect matter. Energy can also affect other energy. So when you do a ritual and you penetrate this energetic system, even your own energy can affect another person. This is how you can write down some things and your SP will say them back to you. Because your energy field can penetrate their energy field. That's why they tell you to do it, whisper in their ears when they're falling asleep, when their energy system is vulnerable. That's how it happens. Okay? But on top of all this is consciousness. And consciousness can affect through the energy, not through the energy, directly into the material. So consciousness can perform a miracle in the material. Consciousness is an individuated piece of God when you bring yourself to just be consciousness, to just dissolve yourself in the consciousness, or to ask God directly for a miracle. This happened this way, right? So again, I'm going to do a video and I'm going to do a diagram on this, because I think every understanding that you gain will be beneficial to you in terms of how you see the world. So when you start aiming for consciousness, which in Maslow's hierarchy of needs is called self-actualization, which in many traditions is the ultimate attainment for any human. So think of all those monks in Tibet, think of all the gurus, all the people who are spiritually realized. They're looking to connect with consciousness. They're not working from the energy field. Or when they're performing healings or they're performing, what they're doing it is from the consciousness. It's easy for them. It just drops in the energetic field. It's sort of like an instruction, and the energy field rearranges itself such that in the material, the consequence of that is easily manifested. That's the loose thing on how things work. And people who are looking for shortcuts, they're either doing the material from the material, or they're going to the larger energy system and try themselves. But themselves, you really can't do it. Try to ask the help of other energy beings, other energy intelligence to do it for them. But the easiest way to have anything, and this is what he talks about, this is to follow your life path, go to consciousness directly, and let the consciousness work out the rearrangements necessary in the energy field. So when you do it yourself, for example, you can go into the energy field, summon someone, okay, an angel, a demon, what have you, and say, I really want that man. He really must be crazy for me. He must be crazy for me. And you're not working with your own energy field. You're accessing the larger one, okay? But this kind of manifestations will always backfire. If you're even hurt, the majority of people aren't even hurt because they don't really have anything to offer. That's the real reason they're not hurt. They don't have something to offer in exchange, okay? In my theory and the theory of many other people who looked into this enough is that you have to have something to offer in exchange. I don't do my work that way. I want nothing to do with connecting with anything other than consciousness, because I realize that I have no power of discernment of who I would be able to connect. So when you go to have fortune readings, when you go to have channeling sessions to contact your dead father, you don't really know. Like, I would not know what energy form I have connected with. This is not a religious fear or anything like that. I just wouldn't know. And because of that, I can't proceed that way. It's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way, and it's this better way that I found for myself of following the best possible version of myself that I can be. And that's what I'm working at every single day. Now, the best possible version of myself that I can be doesn't include me being able to do absolutely anything in this life. We talked about this. I'm never going to be the president of North Korea, even if I really, really wanted to. It's not aligned. It's not in my life path. And even if I try, it will be disastrous probably. I'll probably lose my life for it. Okay? So there's some things that are not aligned with our life path, and you have to be okay with that. You have to understand that everything that you're trying to achieve either comes from spirit or comes from what the world tells you will be best for you. And if you do it from what the world tells you will be best for you, you're going to pay the price for that. And you're probably not going to achieve it anyways. Your life path is things that come easy to you, intuitively to you, are things that you would do if you had all your needs met, all your expenses paid. You would do it really for free. Who's Hecate? I'm going to look this up. Thank you for that. I don't know who she is, but I'm assuming she's someone interesting. So I'm gonna look that up. I don't necessarily want to keep it very scientific. My approach is that a lot of the magic, a lot of this information is just science that's not yet understood. We don't really know how the world works. You can see science has changed majorly over the last 100 years. Majorly. So, she's a Greek goddess. Oh my God, thank you. She's a deity. I'm thinking she's some guru or something. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate that. So science has changed a lot over 100 years. So it's going to continue to change over the next 100 years. Even in our lifetimes, we will see significant admissions and changes in the scientific model. I don't know if it will trickle down to education necessarily for our kids, like it's not enough time, but eventually everything will be changed, right? Just like it was changed from the model and from the books that said the earth is flat and all of that other stuff they used to believe, right? All right, where were we? Okay, so as above, so below, we understood. We digressed there a little bit, but all the systems are, think of it as a triangle. Creator, consciousness, individuated pieces of consciousness, which is us, energy field because everything is designed first before it is expressed, and then expression in the material plane. They're all connected. Don't do the material from the material, it's hard. Choose a different path. Number 3, nothing rests, everything moves. So this has to do with vibration. So nothing rests, everything moves. Again, we know this scientifically. We didn't know this scientifically 200 years ago. Science said, what are you talking about? It's not like that at all. This is why science always changing. But now we know that everything exists in a state of vibration. Everything is just energy vibrating. Every single nucleus of any atom is 1% matter and the rest energy that's vibrating that 1% to different states. And so what you should do, the practical application of this, is that you should always be working on your vibration. And you should always be working on interpreting the vibration that everything around you has in relation to your vibration. So for example, I'm working on my energy, I'm happy, joyful, I'm working to get myself to that state. And then I gotta see if what's around me, my home, is it vibrating same as me? Is the person I'm dating, let's say, vibrating on this, like how does that affect my vibration? So when I meet my friend for lunch, am I left with an increase in my vibration? Has it been neutral in my vibration? How has it affected my vibration? And this is not something you can be like, oh, it was good or it was bad. You need to really analyze it. If it affected your vibration negatively, what is it in the interaction that affected me negatively? Did they say all the pleasant things, but my intuition about them is a bit like telling me that they're not good for me? Or were we gossiping? Were we talking negatively? Was I affirming in reverse for everything that I'm affirming? So when I'm affirming, I'm loved, I'm wanted, I'm this. Was I with my friend at lunch talking all about how men suck, how, nobody's looking for anything serious? So you're really affirming the opposite, right? So how is it that things, people, conversations, books, shows that you're watching, books that you're reading, how are they affecting your vibration? My God, I used to read crime books. I used to love those, like in my early 20s and stuff. And I felt bad after every single one of them, but I was just so excited about the action crime shows. I stopped all that a long time ago. All of this affect how you feel and affect the ideas inside your head. So I'm gonna advise everybody, now it's the end of the year, for 2025, one of your goals should be to not watch any content that changes your vibration system to something negative. Now, unfortunately, most people are never questioning their own vibration system. They're not sitting there being like, okay, let me take 10 seconds to understand, where do I feel my vibration right now? Is it in the pit of my stomach? Does it have to do with my confidence and sense of self? Is it more like, am I scared? Is it more in my heart? Is it more anxiety in my head? Where is it? Where is it? So without that assessment, you cannot assess how things or people make you feel. Do you guys know, I even go to the mall and I pick up something that I like. And before I buy it or even try it on, I'm kind of trying to understand how it relates to me. Is this me? Not, is this color gonna look good on me? But is this something, and I find with certain fabrics, I can't even touch them anymore. I know maybe this sounds crazy, but it's true. It's just like, I get the ick. The ick. I want to stop a little bit and just see what I missed, because I see a lot of comments here. So again, this was the third Hermetic Principles, nothing rests, everything vibrates. And we got to assess our vibration. We got to assess the world around us in relation to that vibration. Yeah, horror movies, forget it. Crime shows, forget it. I don't watch any of that stuff. I only watch sci-fi, like inspiring sci-fi, and comedies if they're a good comedy. I want to see. I can't go too far back, so I just want to see. Same here when it comes to clothing. Yeah. What do you think about drones, UFOs on the coast right now? I skip all of those videos. Guys, I'm gonna make a small parenthesis here to talk about life on other planets and the way I think about aliens and things like this. For an intelligence to be able to be on Earth, to the manner of what they're thinking these things are, this would not be humans of a little bit more intelligence and technology who come here and speak to us in English. You understand? Like, we wouldn't be able to do anything to communicate with them unless I don't even think they would be able to come down to our level, because we know we are so far away. Like, you would need to break the light speed barrier to get to Earth from anywhere where there would be a habitable planet. I'm talking about if these things are incarnate, if they have a body, okay? And because of that, it's sort of like thinking between us and something that's very close to us, but is not us, like a monkey. Okay, humans share about 97% DNA with chimps. I think it's 97. If it's not 97, it's around 92, something like this. And so we are a lot like monkeys, but part of the DNA that's missing for them is the DNA that's responsible for the division of the cells in the brain when the brain is formed. And because of that, they have a lot less brain cells. So it doesn't matter if we're only 2% DNA different than this other beings, or this, if that 2%, even if they look like us, if their brain is capable of breaking the light speed barrier with organic bodies, the difference between them and us is like between us and monkeys, okay? And the monkey can understand a lot, right? They can understand I exist. They can even find a way to communicate with me. But if I have a pet monkey, I cannot explain to that pet monkey concepts about myself. Like, I have to go to work now. And because that's how I get the money to be in this house with you. If I don't go and I get fired, do you know what I mean? Like, that's a concept that the monkey will never understand. And so if you want to ponder the nature of more intelligent beings, understand that the more intelligent being will not be the difference between you and a human from 10,000 years ago. Will not just be that technology difference. It will be a difference as to where you cannot understand them, and you cannot understand their motives, and you cannot understand concepts of their world. Like, no matter what, right? Because the brain is so different, or the mind is so different. And so I don't worry about things that I don't understand. I don't worry about powers that are so much greater than me, that if they wanted to pop up all over the sky and wipe this earth clean, there's nothing I could do about it. There's no reason if I have 2 more days to live it in fear. Get it? They do whatever they want, because we do whatever we want to chimps. That's sort of my understanding, and it's sort of a parallel why I shut down certain things out of my life. It's not in the benefit of my well-being to contemplate this. This can only put you in a state of fear, in a state of, why isn't the government telling us? What do they want? They're going to take whatever they want. But between now and then, you can't live your life in this perpetual, you have your life to live. Get it? Are you guys with me on this? Let's see. I agree, most of it is a distraction. Best to ignore all that 3D nonsense. Yeah, it could be, of course, it could be our own government. It could be all sorts of things that are trying to induce fear, but it's just not in my mind. When I see a video like that, I just skip it. There's no reason. You have no answer, so why would I waste my life thinking about it? Finally, someone who knows we are literally monkeys to aliens. You know, the human arrogance, It's always baffled me, to think that you're the top of the food chain in this universe. It's the arrogance is unbelievable if you think about it, the size of the universe and everything. Yeah, don't let thinking get in the way of your thoughts. I like that. All right, I wanna be able to go over all of this. Okay, number 4, everything is dual. Everything is dual. Opposites must exist in our universe, in this version of the universe. So everything you see, everything you experience has an opposite. Hot and cold, dark and light, love and what? Who knows what the opposite of love is? Hint, it's not hate. What is the opposite of love? Anybody? No. Fear, pain, hate, no. Indifference, yeah. The opposite of love is indifference. It's complete indifference. Love is such a comprehensive thing. We think of love as romantic love. But the opposite of love is indifference. Like, I realize that I love animal life on this planet. And I love to look at them, like the wild animals they present on documentaries and stuff. And I am not indifferent when they are hunted down for sport, when they are burning in a forest fire, when I'm not indifferent. And this is how you know there is love in you for life, for other forms of life, for people, you're not supposed to see a child suffering and say that at least it's not my child, right? And only through love you can affect. So this principle of duality, what does it do really in your mind? What's the practical application of it? You can only work with the positive aspect of the duality, not the negative. So for example, light and dark. To make something bright, you don't focus on the dark. You don't focus on how can I extinguish this dark. With hot and cold, you don't focus on how can I work with this cold to make it less cold. How can I work with this pain to make it less pain? You don't do that. You focus on the opposite, right? If it's dark, you bring the light and the dark just goes away. If it's cold, you turn on the heat. You focus on how can I work with this other side of the opposite pole and get rid of that. This gets rid of the opposite in a natural way when you focus on what you want to achieve. And it's the same thing with love, right? So you don't focus on the difference in the world. You focus on how can I give more love in the world? How can I give more love in the world, right? Or what else can I love? What else can I care about in the world to manifest more love all around me? That's how you work with understanding the principle of dualities. You never focus on the end that you don't want. You focus on the other end. Okay. Number 5, all things rise and fall. All things have a flow. This, you especially need to understand this about the world. It's a pendulum. Everything is a pendulum. If the pendulum swings, so the pendulum can swing this way or this way. Usually you don't want it to swing too much. You want it to go like this, because this is like fascism, communism. It's like, they're opposite ends of the same thing. But what you got to understand is that the needle, if it swung too much one way, it cannot stay there. It can't stay there. It will automatically be pushed on the other side. And so the practical application of this in collective consciousness is you got to go with the times. So whatever the times are right now, you have to accept it and be like, how can I both profit and contribute to these times? When you're on the rise, you should be asking the same thing. Oh, I'm profiting now. How can I contribute? But when you're on the down, you should be asking the same thing. Because we all know, even in a downward economy, a lot of people profit off of that via different things. Via giving loans to people who don't qualify for loans. Via opening businesses that help those struggling with something. Via, charitable volunteer work contribution. So there's always something you can personally do, but you cannot affect the pendulum. And you have to learn to exist within the pendulum. Okay? So everything, don't try to stop the flow. You won't be able to, and you'll become miserable observing the flow. You'll become miserable in a certain political context. You'll become miserable. It's only going to affect you if you become miserable. Get it? Otherwise, you see it for what it is. It's just, now I'm here. Now, how can I both profit and contribute here? All right. Number 6, every cause has an effect and every effect has a cause. Common sense, but people don't contemplate this. They don't contemplate the cause and effect. So if every effect has a cause, you must investigate the cause of an effect you don't like. So if you have a headache, right? And if you pop a pill, the headache will be masked, but you haven't affected the cause. This is why we have chronic diseases in our system, because they just manage them. They're not dealing with the cause of them, right? The cause is not affected. Now, a lot of times we don't know the cause, right? The science doesn't know the cause. And so they're just working on the effect. But sometimes this is also very obvious in the circumstances of your life. The effect of you always losing your job has a cause. Like, I'm not saying it has a cause because you're not good enough. I'm saying it could have an energetic cause. It could have all sorts of causes but you yourself as a person be like, there's a pattern in my life, in my relationships. I always get dumped. I always get cheated on. I need to understand the cause. The cause is never because all men do that. It's never that. Lily says, I can't find a flat for my salary since I live in a very expensive country. How can I manifest? I'm not gonna have time to cover that during this live, but I wanna tell all single women something. Okay, I was a single mom for a very long time. I want to tell you something important for 3D. When you are a woman living on just your income, as in nobody's helping you, your parents aren't helping you, you don't have an alimony from your ex-husband, you don't have other sources of income, you're just on your own income. You cannot live within your means. You know how people say, you gotta live within your means? A single woman on her own income cannot live within her means. You have to plan your life to live it. I'm talking 3D now. You have to plan your life to live well below your means. Well below. Like 20% below. Like if you make $4,000 a month, you can't live on more than $3,200 a month. Okay, I meant to say this to everybody who's, trying to achieve more, that money, believe me, that money will grow and become something that you can rely upon in your life. I've done this. I've overpaid my mortgage, just thinking like I didn't want to put it in a savings account because then I could spend it on a vacation. I overpaid my mortgage payment. I invested in stocks. I paid myself first. Out of every salary that I had, you pay yourself first. You don't pay your bills when you get your salary. You pay, like, I have investments I even forgot about. I had an account at Edward Jones. They just contacted me. They're like, oh yeah, you're now managing this account. I'm like, hey, I have some money here. It was like a nice 5-figure money. I forgot about it. So all of this is because I have never lived within my means. I lived below my means. I want all my queens to do this. In terms of how can you manifest things you can't afford? This is what all my content is all about. So I encourage you to, go over it. But as a practical advice, live below your means and understand the true source of income. Those are the two things. Whatever you get, you can't spend it all on your expenses. And to invite getting more, you have to understand your employer is not your source of income. That's the esoteric piece. We talked about this many times. It's all in my content. I have lists on my content. I haven't really done new content because I feel like I have the basics all covered. Go through the list, things you don't really understand. Go through the list, how to manifest. It's really not standard, just imagine it and it'll come to pass. None of it is Neville. I don't do Neville, really. Neville had his time. It was a time when it was a lot easier for people to believe. And it was a time where collective consciousness believed that it was normal to get a house, to get a family, to have all these things. And remember, we are heavily influenced by what collective consciousness believes. And right now, collective consciousness doesn't believe that. So you kind of have to do a lot more work than people had to in Neville's time. All right. Number 7, this is the last one, is gender. So I talk a lot about the feminine here. I talk a lot about it. So, but the idea is this: we both have the 2 genders within us. I'm talking about masculine and feminine. I'm not talking from a social perspective. I'm talking masculine and feminine. And they're mixed in a different proportion for each person. Whoever wants to be woman-like should aim to be 90% feminine, 10% masculine. For men, obviously, the other way around. I understand there's different combinations in between, and people, as long as people choose those combinations, I have no problem with it. But what happens to the majority of women is they slowly lose their 90% from the time they are small girls, and certain burdens, certain abuse, certain paradigms are instilled within them, and they get into the masculine. Later on, they can't understand why life is hard, why their relationships with men don't work out, why the men they want, the masculine men, don't want them, etc. And the reason always comes back to gender and your mix of gender. So you have to be honest with yourself and look at yourself first. Ask yourself what gender you want to be. What proportion do you want to be? Do you want to be 70% male, 30% female? Where's your mind at? Okay? Ideally, for the most feminine woman, it would be 90-10. I'm probably an 80-20 right now, but I tell you guys, I was 80-20 the other way at some point in my life. And it was all reflective in my life. Like when you're mostly masculine, what happens is the universe will give you masculine things to handle. So for example, you'll have to solve a lot of problems because your masculine energy has a certain destiny in this world, right? So the masculine handles X, the feminine handles Y. And if you nurture your masculine side, you'll be stressed, you'll have problems to resolve, you'll have things to build on your own, you'll have relationships that you have to carry on your back, etc., etc. Now, at the same time, unfortunately, from a social perspective, you're also expected to fulfill all the feminine duties, which take a masculine undertone. Like even in the raising of your kids, in the doing all the planning, you're beginning to approach it with a masculine undertone. And a lot of these children raised by these moms, while they're grateful their mom was managed to do it on her own and stuff, they always remember the mom not in the feminine at all. Like the mom always neglected her body. It was always about other things. The mom never taught the daughters how to be soft. Like the mom taught them skills on how to get by in the workplace, as opposed to skills on how to be feminine, right? And so first you have to decide your gender, your ideal gender proportion. Like I'm not by nature the most feminine woman, but I enjoy the 80-20. So I'm not going to go 90. I'm not going to go develop more of the feminine. I think I'm in balance right now based on how I am. But if you're 60-70% masculine and you're looking to have a relationship where you feel appreciated as a woman, if you're looking to have less problems, less stress, to be provided more by the universe, okay? You don't need a millionaire to be provided for, guys. If you're looking to attract provision from the universe, and the universe will decide the source of your provision. It could be via man, it could be via lottery win, it could be via inheritance, it could be like 1,000 other ways, okay? And so if you want all that, you can't do it when you're 60-70% masculine. When you're 60-70% masculine, you get masculine things. Now, staying in the 70-80% masculine may get you to be the CEO of a company. May get you there, okay? But it won't get you anything else. So there's a woman on Dragon's Den, on the show that's, do you guys know who I'm talking about? She's the older woman. I think her name is Barbara. She's a blonde woman, short hair. So her story is she was in this business with her husband back in the day. She's, I think, 70 now. She was in this business and the husband left her for the secretary. And she talked about this, right? So she left it for the secretary. Secretary, you know, feminine, her working hard in the business, being her husband's partner. And now her videos are like, oh, okay, but I built this company, I continue to build this company, and I sold it for $60 million. Okay, that's great, right? So you achieved the masculine, right? That's success, you achieved. but the rest of your life was lived basically alone. You never, like, a lot of women have this need for emotional fulfillment and emotional need to be with the masculine. Any woman can succeed in the world in that way, in business, in this. But for that, you gotta be in the masculine, unless you're an artist, unless you become a very, very successful painter, a very, very successful, some artist thing where you can stay in your feminine and become successful. If you're running a company, 100% you're in the masculine, 100%. And yes, you can build it, sell it for 60 million, and you showed, oh, your husband who left you for the secretary. But all you have to show for is the money, guys, right? Like, let's be honest here. It's the money. It's not like you got a better man or a man who loves you for you. No, because you had to stay in the masculine to build this thing. Okay, so now you have all these penthouses and houses, and she's done a tour of her house. She lives alone in it. I don't know. Most women wouldn't want necessarily that. I'm not saying it's wrong. How can I become feminine when being a single parent and a boyfriend struggling financially? Number one, get rid of the boyfriend who's struggling financially. You're heavily in the masculine. That's why you took on another dependent. How can you be a single mom and your first thought isn't for the well-being of your child? It doesn't matter who the man is, what sexual feelings you have for him, what caring feelings you have for him. Being with this man is not in the highest interest of you and your child. It's not contributing to your well-being. And so I have no advice for you, because your first step is for you to be focused on your well-being and the well-being of your child. I want to see if I missed anything else. Guys, I don't want to be hard on anybody, but sometimes the answer is so obvious. And by the way, just because you get rid of the boyfriend doesn't mean that automatically you'll become feminine. Then you have work to do. But you cannot do this work on top of having a relationship with the masculine that's struggling and that you're allowing in your life for a reason. Wish I had this knowledge 25 years ago. Guys, time doesn't matter. Sure, I wish, not that I had this, like, wish I could transfer my consciousness in the body I had when I was 18. Okay. That's really the wish, right? Man, I would live a trail of glory. I would blaze through this world, you know? Can you imagine how I would handle men with my mind from now? Being an 18-year-old, they think I'm naive and innocent. That wouldn't be safe. It wouldn't be safe for the man. Right? If I could just be in that body, 17, 18-year-old, and I can handle like a 40-year-old man, bring him to ruin. Oh my God. This is why older men date teens. Yeah. Wouldn't be safe for the 40-year-old, believe me. Let's see. Did I do all 7? Okay, I did all 7. I want to take just a few more minutes, just 5 more minutes on something else. I don't know why I closed this, because I wanted to leave you guys with something. So this is our last live of the year. This will be posted on YouTube for my group. Once again, we have the meditation on Wednesday, and our next meditation is January 1st. I'm also restarting the 60-day challenge on January 1st. Let me just put the square here so they let me continue the live for a few more minutes. Remember, handling 3D, your emotions. Aim to do better in 2025. Your emotions are always valid, but in most cases they aren't facts. They're interpretations. They're not what is actually happened. They're just your interpretation about what happens. Remember that in 2025. So your goal should be to tame the mind. This should be your top goal in life. Taming the mind to take yourself in the direction that you want to go. But you cannot do that if the mind runs around like this. All right. So I'm just going to go over 7 things that I want you guys to consider doing and doing. Daily visualization practices. I do this for maybe less than 5 minutes, 2-3 minutes after I do my entries in the 60-day challenge. I just visualize myself in some scenes of the life that is described. And some of it, by the way, some of it already came true. And I'm just keep pouring energy. For example, in my marriage, I keep pouring the energy there. Okay, I keep seeing him coming home, giving me kisses, always making me feel good. Like all of the stuff I want to maintain in my life. It's not just for things you want in the future. It could be for really good things that you have right now. Number 2, evening review ritual. We have this part of the 60-day challenge. It's basically logging winks, sinks. It's basically logging how you've handled a challenge differently. Somebody cut you off in traffic and you did it better. You know, your reaction was better. So every single day you should be reviewing. Again, this is like a 5-minute practice. Number 3, energy clearing. We do this in the group with the new moon, but you should be doing this consciously every single day. Every day you take a shower, do not waste the shower. The shower should also be energetic cleansing. As the water is coming on you, close your eyes, take 10 to 20 seconds, forgive everybody who didn't treat you good that day. Just eliminate their signature from your energetic system using the water. By the way, science is more going in the direction that water is sentient. We'll talk about that next year. Okay, number 4, body awareness. The body is not just a suit. It's not just a blurb of matter. Your body is technology. It's an important machine that allows you not just to walk and talk in the world and eat. It allows you to do a lot more. Pay attention to the body. Don't ignore the body. Treasure your body. Your body is your temple. Pay attention to who touches you. Don't let just anybody. There should be really, you should be very selective about who can touch you, who can touch your body. Number 5, gratitude amplification. Everything you have, every single religion and it's telling you, give thanks. Give thanks all the time. Give thanks when you almost avoided a collision maybe on the road. Stop the car, put it aside of the road. Give so much thanks. When you're delayed on something, give thanks that maybe something bad would have happened if you weren't delayed. Always give thanks for everything that happens, okay? Now, that's number 5. 2 more. Number 6, non-reaction to 3D. I talk about that almost every single live. Non-reaction to 3D, your emotions are valid, but they're not necessarily facts. Practice non-emotional reaction to 3D and transmute it if you can, right? So the way you transmute this is, what's the lesson here, as opposed to, oh my God, this bad thing happened. It's like, what's the lesson in it for me? This is not happening to me, it's happening for me. And then number 7, of course, the actual practice, the meditation, the sound, the breath work, everything that we do on a regular basis. It really requires a change in lifestyle, guys. But you will never look back after you see the first sign of this change and you nurture them and you see more and more. This is what this guy did. I loved his book. Again, a mix between techniques and memoir of how his life turned out by doing this practice since he was 12 years old. Into the Magic Shop by Dr. Jim Dody. I am going to do the 369 I am a winner. And then you'll find me in our group, on a Facebook group for whoever's in my group. For whoever else, I wish you Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'll see you in the first week of January. Let's put our hands together for the 369 I am a winner. One breath. I am a winner. 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 I am a winner.